Yeah, this a hit right here, Zay.
To my alliance, I pledge allegiance to Yahweh and my riders. The ones that do the work and cut like Michael Myers. Let off, reload the magazine and fire. It's wartime, run down the fire.
Gangster, I read my Bible every night. Lord walk with me, he back to back in every fight. I pledge allegiance to my alliance, the Israelites. 144,000 saints ready to lose their life. Strikes with gang cat from the streets with gang tag. Sakari the squad, we got that fire, I bang that. From thugging with HS, congregation, no hesitation for participation. We swinging swords that heed the nation.
To my alliance, I pledge allegiance to Yahweh and my riders. The ones that do the work and cut like Michael Myers.
Generation, because guess what? My generation grew up believing in LA that we was enemies, that blacks and Latinos was enemies. And you know where that mentality came from? From the prison system. See what I'm saying? You just said it earlier. Our people live next to each other. We act the same. Our kids go to the same school. We indistinguishable when it comes to family and parties. How we can have 5 generations at the party, everybody dancing, from abuelita on down to the youngest baby, right? We love good food, sipping on a little something, having fun with each other, right? We value that innately. That lets you know our cultures are so similar from the top of North America down to the bottom. And the things that we go through are so similar. Like with the so-called Negroes in America, there was chattel slavery, right? But did you know, let me, before I assume, are you Mexican?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know, have you ever heard of Hernan Cortez?
Not personally.
Okay. Look up Hernan Cortez. He's like the Christopher Columbus of the Spaniard Navy that came and plundered Mexico. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a city in Mexico called Izúcar de Matamoros. It's near Miami, right? See? It's near Mexico City. It's near Mexico City, right?
Yeah.
Izúcar de Matamoros. You see what I'm saying? This is where Hernan Cortez, the tribe of Issachar, set up camp there. It's in the Bible according to scripture. The tribe of Issachar comes to this land, sets up camp there because they found that it was right? And then guess 2,700 years later, right? Because according to the Apocrypha, we know that Northern Kingdom left Israel around 7th century BC and came to what the land is called Arsarit. If you study your history, you study Christopher Columbus, Hernan Cortez, and all these Italian and Spanish and so on and so forth, explorers, conquistadors, right? Conquerors is a better word, right? They knew about this land called Arsarit. You watch the movie 1492. Christopher Columbus takes Hebrew interpreters with him to come to this land. Hernan Cortez, same thing. Christopher Columbus went back with the info, man, these people got more gold than they can do anything with, man. We need to go over there and get their gold. But guess what? The first cargo that Hernan Cortez took back, or Christopher Columbus took back with him, it wasn't gold. Guess what the first cargo was? Slaves. He took our people back to Europe. You see what I'm saying? And then, as if that wasn't enough, they came back with more boats and filled their boats with so much gold sometimes that them boats sunk before it went back to the Spanish Navy. You see what I'm saying? They send the whole armada over here to rape, rob, and pillage our people. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because they knew where the goods was. You know how they knew? Because y'all have been doing it since BC. There's other people that have been doing it, and I'm gonna show you one example in the Bible, right? Did somebody read 2nd Esdras for them? Right? Okay, I'm gonna read 2 little small passages, and this is dealing with history, because I want this young generation to understand how important it is to look back, so you can understand what's coming in front of you. You see what I'm saying? Like, before you came up today, and the Most High guide your steps up here. And the Most High put it in your heart to stand here and listen to some old dude talk. Well, maybe not some old dude compared to Qadat, but right? listen to some brothers over here talk about the Bible, the Most High God put that on your spirit. You see what I'm saying? So the takeaway, just like the brother said, we got to understand what's required of us, right? We need to behave like priests and kings. That means we need to be diligent enough to understand what's required of us and have the passion to go tell our brothers the same thing, right? To go tell every one of our brothers that we love, because regardless of if you like them or not, or if they friend or not, if they're Israelite, you commanded to love them. So every Israelite, it should be burning on your spirit to be like, look, I gotta tell you this information. I gotta tell you this. This is the best information you ever gonna hear. And you know what most of your friends and family probably gonna do? Get pissed. Get pissed, because I'm gonna be 100 with you. I'm gonna be 100 with you. All right. In Mexico and South America, the predominant faith is Catholicism, right? Catholicism, boy, I mean, you can't even talk about Mary, right? They think Mary is a perpetual virgin. How is that biblical when the Bible says Christ has brothers? You see what I'm saying? So, you see how the Europeans came in, colonized you, and bastardize your culture and call it a religion. You know why? Because they wicked, they want to keep their boot on your neck, and they want to keep us separate and away from the truth. Guess what the opposite of them having their boot on our neck is? Us understanding who we are, loving our brothers, spreading this message so that we get the word out to 144 saints that seal the fate of this wicked kingdom that's going to come down. Because it touched the apple of the Most High God's eye. You see what I'm saying? And we talked about us being the salt of the earth and the flavor of the earth. Don't nobody do it like us. Right. You see what I'm saying? That's ironic. You got the shirt on, right? Dodgers. You know who one of my favorite pitchers from the Dodgers was? Fernando Valenzuela. You see what I'm saying? When I was a little kid, probably younger than you. How old are you? 18, yeah. When I was a little kid, still in high school, like 16, 17, is when Fernando was out there. Right? With that big curveball. You see what I'm saying? Chavez Jareen will be full of blacks and Latinos rooting for Fernando. Fernando had that flavor. Look at all the Latinos that play baseball. You see what I'm saying? And you see a lot of black Latinos, right? You're looking at Israel. We do it all better. We got the best looking women. We got the best food. We dance the best. Everybody want to be like us. We got the BET Awards now, but guess what? When the Latino Music Awards come out, it's just going to be just as fly. Because a lot of brothers like Pitbull and these dudes, they do both shows. You see what I'm saying? So, understanding how similar our cultures are is not by mistake. We are the same people. Somos el mismo gente. See? Somos familia. ¿Entiendes? See? So I'm gonna tell you where it came from and why the enemy understood who we were and understood how to get in between us and separate us apart. But guess where they messed up? They messed up trying to mess with God's chosen people. That's right. You see what I'm saying? They messed with the right one. Because it was prophesied that we would end up in this wicked earth together in captivity. You see what I'm saying? In the old days, in the ancient days, northern kingdom was in Samaria, right? And southern kingdom was in Judah. We were separated. We didn't even mess with each other, right? The story about the Samaritan woman in the well. Like, that woman came up to Christ and was like, Christ, y'all southern kingdom Jews, y'all don't even mess with us. That's how big of a split there was. You heard about there being a split between the northern and southern kingdom, right? After King Solomon. You see what I'm saying? It was a big beef. And I did a class not too long ago. Blacks and Latinos been set tripping from day one. Because Southern Kingdom, the so-called Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the so-called Negroes, been beefing with Northern Kingdom, the so-called Latinos and indigenous people, 3,000 years. During the time of, after King Solomon passed, during the time of Rehoboam and Jeroboam. You see what I'm saying? They knew that if we break God's commandments and don't love each other, that they can come in and take all our riches. And King Solomon was one of the richest men on the face of the planet, the richest. And you want to know why? You ever heard of the Olmecs? So in Mexico and mostly Central America probably, right? They got those statues that look kind of African, Negroid. Well, there were actual Africans that were coming over here during the time of King Solomon. I'm gonna show you that in the Bible. So now, this the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you back in King Solomon's days, when King Solomon commanded the navy of Tarshish to come over here and get him gold and treasures, right? I'm gonna show you that route was known, and then I'm gonna show you where your people took that same route, right?
It's the book of 1 Kings chapter 10 and verse 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish.
He's talking about King Solomon, right? You know the story of King Solomon, King David's son. King David couldn't build the palace because he had blood on his hands, right? So King Solomon built the palace, and it just wasn't a regular palace. It was decked out. It was more immaculate than any crib you've probably ever seen on Yo MTV cribs. Whoop-de-whoop. You could think of the biggest syndicate leader crib, like the biggest palace you could think of. Solomon had it over and over 10 times, right? Richest man on the planet. And you know why? Because his father had an agreement with the navy of Tarshish, Hiram's navy, because his father conquered everybody around him, and they was like, yo, we don't want to go to war with you. Just let us know what we need to do to be cool with you. So David's son, Solomon, still had command of Hiram's navy. So that's who we talk about right now. All right? Read it.
With the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks.
Once in 3 years, these dudes would bring Solomon all these gifts and rare treasures that wasn't found on this side of the earth. You know what's the distinction between the Americas and the other? This is the fourth part of the earth, so to speak, right? You know what the distinction is between the Americas and the other 3 parts of the earth? Is that the continents of Africa, Europe, and Asia are all connected as a landmass, right? There's no big body of water separating all of those continents, right? Whereas the Americas, North, Central, and South America, are separated by 2 large oceans, right? The Atlantic and the Pacific surround the Americas. You see what I'm saying? So that lets you know it was a land where no man ever dwelt. The Olmecs visited here and knew where the treasures were, but they didn't dwell here, right? I'm gonna show you the first time your ancestors came here to dwell, right? Second Ezra start around 40, right? Yeah, go ahead.
This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 13, verse 40.
And this is the Apocrypha, which in a 1611 Bible is included. You know who took those books out of the Bible? The same white people that came and conquered you.
Right.
Their descendants, because they like, hold on, we can't get that. Nope. Our grandfathers did this. Right? What you think they doing now in school? They trying to take everything that got to do with oppression and slavery. You know what I'm saying? They trying to take it out the school books. You see what I'm saying? They trying to say that slavery was voluntary servitude, so that little white boys don't feel bad about their wicked granddaddies. You see what I'm saying? But meanwhile, what about our kids? What about our kids sitting at the borders in cages, getting sent to strangers, child molesters, trafficking? They have no concern for the young or the old. They don't care. That's why it's a shame when some of our own people want to fight us because they see a white Jesus with horns. Jesus is a melanated man, not no white man. The white man is the goddamn devil the Bible speaks of. Because all he does is travel the globe, rape, rob, murder, and steal and pillage. Right? An insatiable thief that has to glean every grape off of the vine. He can't even leave a little spoil. He got to take it all. He don't care if he got billions in the bank. He want it all. Why? Because that's the devil's lust. You see what I'm saying? They don't have the spirit that says family, me, community, us. Like how we'll kick it with 5 generations, right? I'll be at the party dancing with my great grandma. You see what I'm saying? We do that. It's grandma in there cooking. She got to kick me out the kitchen, right? You had to do that before?
Yeah, I just met my great grandma recently.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got it. Look, we tighten it like that. But you know how the devil is? Me. Mine. I'm the strongest. I conquer this. If my Navy can beat your Navy, I'm taking it all. That's the white man's mentality. That's what they've been doing since they got let out of the pits of hell in the Renaissance. To conquer the world. You see what I'm saying? That's all they've done is colonize, rape, rob, murder, and enslave. But do you think they can get away with doing that to God's chosen people? Do you think that's not gonna get some payback? They gonna get payback. All right. Now I'm gonna read this for you. Go ahead.
2nd Ezra chapter 13 verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive.
Okay, we're talking history. O.C. the king this is more modern Greek. The ancient pronunciation would be Hosea, right? Hosea was the king when Salmanassar was the king of Assyria, and the Assyrians had the northern kingdom in captivity, right? So in order to escape their captivity, the northern kingdom, I'm not going to give you a spoil, no, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to let the Bible talk, right? This is the story. It's a cliffhanger, all right? Read. This is your history, all right? And I want you to teach your people your history. See what I'm saying? You be the shining light. Your generation, you're the one we dependent on. Because, hey, I ain't going to lie, some kids your age, if it don't get better, it's going to simultaneously combust. Right? Some of y'all young boys, I don't know what happened. It just...
God nowadays.
Right? A lot of wickedness, right? Alright, all praise, read.
And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
They're going to go forth into a country where never mankind dwelt. They're going to jack a boat, right? They're going to take this ship from Salmanassar, and we out of here, right? Read.
That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
Right? They entered into the Euphrates, and keep in mind, Israel, the Levant, is from the Nile to the Euphrates. The modern day Israeli country is a little thin sliver on the Gaza Strip on top of Egypt. Right? Actual Israel goes from the Nile river banks all the way to the Euphrates, which is modern day Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Right? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? That's our stuff that the heathens have trampled on. So we're right now bouncing all the way from the Euphrates. That's like Indian Ocean, almost. Right? That side of Africa. See what I'm saying? Or not even Africa. Central Asia, Persia. Right? Read.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Right.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
So the place that they were trying to get to was a year and a half by boat. What's a year and a half times 2?
3 years.
3 years. How long did Hiram's Navy take?
3 years.
Round trip, right? You see the correlation? I knew you was a sharp kid. Get this young man in here. I knew he was a sharp kid, right?